bright side of life. Always look on the bright side of life. Some things in life are bad, they can really make you mad. Other things just make you swear and curse. When you're chewing on life's gristle, don't grumble, give a whistle. This'll help things turn out for the best. Always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the right side of life. If life seems jolly rotten, there's something you've forgotten, and that's to laugh and smile and dance and sing. When you're feeling in the dumps, don't be silly chumps. Just purse your lips and whistle, that's the thing. So always look on the bright side of death. Just before you draw your terminal breath. Life's a counterfeit when you look at it. Life's a laugh and death's the joke, it's true. You see, it's all a show. Keep them laughing as you go. Just remember the last laugh is on you. Always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the
Hey, who's the camera on, Gonzo? Hi, welcome to Ward 13. Gonzo's here. He's going to interview a person called Revan, right? We just came from the homeless camp at the Hillsborough County Courthouse. And Gonzo, why don't you take it away and find out for Manchester, the community, who Revan is.
Yeah, I don't even know who Revan is. This kind of mysterious figure over here with his black gloves.
Well, to be honest, I don't really know who I am myself. I'm still figuring it out as I go.
Don't we all? So you were down there at the federal courthouse?
Oh, it's a state courthouse, Hillsborough County.
The state house?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've been there for a little while. I've been there since before the start of the protest, actually.
What's your role?
I help the protesters and their liaisons with the homeless try to keep things organized, make sure that everybody gets an equal share of the food, the water, the supplies, the clothes.
So you keep it you keep the unruliness gone, and you're a guy that the homeless people will listen to and respect, and the other side will listen to and respect.
The other side will, but I back up Calvin who's pretty much the liaison between the homeless and the protesters. Like he said in his previous interview on the news the other day, he's not going anywhere, and well, I got his back. His resolve and his faith in humanity has kind of sort of restored my lack thereof.
So can I just ask, there's two different, you just mentioned there's protesters and the homeless.
Mm-hmm.
So you yourself aren't homeless, but you're a activist for the homeless?
I actually am.
Oh, look at the camera.
I actually, sorry, I actually am. But,
okay.
But I'm just pretty much just down there in order to just help, because it's a cause I can stand behind.
Right. Who's Calvin?
Calvin is the one that's been pretty much keeping everybody organized, and with that many people, it's hard to do it alone. So, and because everybody else is just doing their own thing, I figured I would try to do my best to help him out and just try to keep things organized, because they're not gonna probably respect me at all, but they respect him and a few others. And so if I stand at their back and do what they ask of me, it kind of keeps things running smoothly.
So this is a very interesting situation. Like,
Yeah,
I bet a lot of people don't really know the underbelly of what's going on here. The politics, if you will,
yeah.
between the homeless situation, the people who are homeless. So
Can we just mention that?
without Calvin, though, in yourself, you're saying things would go awry.
I
Or
think
Awry,
Awry.
if you will.
indubitably.
Ari.
I kind of disagree with that, only in the sense that if it weren't for Calvin, if it wasn't for Forrest, who's behind
Forrest, that's who I met.
that's who you were looking
looking
for when you
for.
ran into me. I kind of run communicate between them two from time to time, but it's mostly asking that I pretty much mostly go up to them to ask, what's the next step? What do I do to help everybody?
Okay, let's just tell the folks, this is the former Hillsborough County North Courthouse, which has been closed, and it's closed, right?
I assume.
Yeah, because it's
Mm.
and homeless people. It's an ideal location for the services that are available to homeless people, and people that have like substance abuse problems, which often they wind up homeless. And it's state property,
Right, so
And-
nice little niche.
right? And as we know, Mayor Joyce Craig's been having a lot of trouble with the state of New Hampshire. It's refused 3 requests by her to use the state armory to house homeless as an emergency shelter, because frigid weather is coming. And I just might add, I just wrote an article in 2001. Keith Hirschman, when he was the first round of being the alderman from Ward 12, good friend of Joe Lavasser, the biggest opponent, the harasser, in my opinion, opponent of the homeless, asked the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to ask then Governor Shaheen for a declaration of emergency and to use the state armory for an emergency shelter, which seems rational. But the politics, we won't go into that. The state set Monday, on Monday, a deadline for the people to get out of this camp, we'll call it the court camp, expired. They're supposed to get out by Monday. A bunch of activists, like my friend Elizabeth Ropp, the Hillsborough County Registered Probate, were there to protest that action. The governor's office, or the governor himself, issued a statement that on Monday, the Department of Health and Human Services had contacted the homeless. I was told by the activists down there that that didn't happen at all. They didn't contact anybody. We now have Carol Robideau, who I met of Manchester Inkling, who told me you were looking for me, Gonzo. She said that they're going to take action tonight. The state police are likely going to move in today, which is one reason, like, Revan and you might want to go there. Gonzo, what was the vibe? We'll get back to you, but what was the vibe there?
I had a feeling they felt. Now I'm talking about the people who are staying there. They felt a little patronized, to be honest. I feel like they got their cold pizza, they got their cold coffee. Now, what the hell do you guys want? What are you doing here? You're standing around waiting to see something. Where were you yesterday? Are you going to be tomorrow? I'm there because I got a tip that they're sweeping the place, so I wanted to be there for it, and I knew I was doing Ward 13,
Yeah.
so I want to have some notes for it.
And
I'm
we
not
thought
going to be there
Forrest-
tomorrow.
yeah.
I'll be honest with you. And I felt they knew that, and it's like I feel like they're kind of embarrassed in, like, how many times can someone go around and offer them a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup before they're like, dude, I'm full.
Revan, what's the
Let's
pressure?
talk about the real issues. Like, I felt like they felt like zoo animals, to be honest.
Revan, what's the pressure on the people down there?
It's it depends on who you ask from person to person. With say the protesters taking care of those people, they know just as well as I that a lot of these people, they just want affordable housing. I mean, I myself normally work every day, even on Sundays, and I'm still not making enough for a studio apartment in the city.
You won't.
No.
You know,
What's the average price? Like something like
no one's gonna
Too
save,
much.
No one's gonna save
Well over
$1,600. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna get $20, and they're gonna get their short-term happiness out of it. That's what I've noticed. Like if it's a 6-pack of beer, if it's whatever drug they're doing, that's the priority. Because if they don't do that and they put 40 in their pocket and then they put another 40 in their pocket, it's going to take 30 days before they get enough to get an apartment. And it's just unbearable, this weather, and that's the problem. People
And-
need their happiness, and I'm not saying that it's okay to go get your happiness that way, but I can see why they are.
Right, because it's like an escape from reality for them, because they know that the reality is that we live in a system where going from poverty to at least a sense of normalcy,
right.
a place to live where you can go to work, get out of work, take a shower when you get home, and at least have a beer. Or not even, just have a place where you can sit and
To
put your
have
feet
4
up.
walls around you.
Yeah,
so you're
4
not
walls and a
freezing.
roof, and and
Smoke a little something.
I guess like if that's your poison, like
That's my poison.
some people like to escape
But I take that
reality
for
that
granted,
way.
having an ottoman to put my feet on. You know, I don't realize it. And I urge anybody to just, you don't have to engage with people, but just take a look and look at their faces, man. Like, it sucks. You know?
Well, one of the people I was talking about in the show, I think you were on the show, Jeffrey Pendleton, was an African American who died at the Valley Street Jail in 2016. He was an advocate for the 15 hours, for as a minimum wage. He was working at Burger King. It's like impossible. His wife left him, and he became homeless. And he got busted. He had a minor amount of marijuana, didn't have the $100 bail, and dies, at the Valley Street Jail. That was in 2016. But the thing is that to be working a job like that, $8 an hour, you can't get enough money to survive, it seems.
You can barely make enough in order to feed yourself and maybe
Not to mention, you want to help
escape
others.
from reality.
You must help your peers out, too, a lot.
There's a lot of people that are there's a few people in there that are so disabled that they have trouble moving, getting out of their tents.
And you feel guilty not giving
And
them stuff, right?
It would feel wrong not to help,
Right.
knowing that I got 2 working legs, and a lot of them are pretty up there.
But a lot of people out there don't realize that the community, that the brotherhood that you guys show each other. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you get PO'd? Do you get really upset with the one bad apple out there? The one that
The one or
JKL
two?
is looking at. Well, look at this guy.
Well,
he's,
yeah.
he's ruining it for everyone. You know, why would we give him this when they're just gonna do that? Do you get mad at those people who just do that?
A lot of those people are so far gone that they can't even help themselves anymore.
Mental
and
illness.
mental illness, substance abuse. I myself, you probably can't tell because of my charismatic nature, severe depression and anxiety. Like I'm actually an agoraphobic.
Most
I
people are.
am afraid of other human beings, but I'm still down there trying to help. Or else I'd be at my own campsite. I go rooftop to rooftop
Right.
to stay away from the ground level because I don't know which one of those people are or aren't a bad apple. And so it's like I have to take the time to get to know this
right.
person or that person before I have a gauged.
So you don't want to be
sense.
put under their umbrella.
So that's why
basically.
there's sub-camps.
I'd rather watch their umbrella from overhead than be under it.
So that's why there are sub-camps.
Because then I can help if need be.
Yeah.
So there's other satellite
good of you.
camps because people might be afraid of the bigger camps. And I know teenage
Got-
runaways.
Got the
is a problem.
veterans that are down on Natty Daddy Alley. They don't want anything to do with the people down there
Yeah.
because none of them even do any drugs.
Natty Daddy Alley. That's his good old veterans drinking beer, right?
That's down by
Well-
the tracks, yeah.
Yeah, next to the Fisher
The
Cats.
survivalists.
I got to know them. I used to live at Riverwalk Apartments, and I used to walk to the grocery store, and
I always
they would
cut
always
through
look out
there.
for me. Every time I'd take the baby for a walk, they would always kind of just survey the area for me, and they get a sense of pride in where they live, and they don't live in homes, but they They
They
take pride. That's
survive
their
and
area.
survive.
Well,
Wow.
as a veteran, I went for some outreach. What was it, 2015 with veterans? Some of them were dealing. A lot of them had drug problems. I'm talking about 2015. The thing is, they tell you at the VA that they have homeless program for you. That's very fine. And I asked the VA today, and they just sent me a link, not to the specific resource here at the Manchester VA, but just the page. And I remember 5 years ago, you start calling them up. Oh, we're not here for another. We're gone till Tuesday, which is like 4 or 5 days away. So there's a lot of talk, and maybe you could tell us about this, that there's all these resources available to people. But as a disabled veteran myself, West, and one that is considered disabled on a very low income, I find it very hard to actually access services, one. Because here's the thing veterans have told politicians since I've been here and started covering things 6 years ago or more. We don't have a roadmap of who to actually contact to actually get services. And it's continual. They never do get that roadmap. So how much does that? You have the politicians' rhetoric. Oh, there's all this aid here. But if you can't access it.
Do you know how to access help?
I have no clue. I know that there are these shelters that are in place, but a lot of the people would rather not go to them.
And it's COVID, which is a danger, you know.
So that actually reduces the amount of capacity these shelters can have.
Right.
And not to mention, a lot of these shelters, they don't deal with major problems like substance abuse or depression or even some sort of,
Right.
you know...
They're not going to tackle the long-term issues. They're going to get you
No,
through
it's
the
a
night.
Band-Aid over a
Band-Aid.
gash.
But it's a
It's
necessary
still gonna-
Band-Aid, though.
It's a necessary
Right.
Band-Aid, but it's still a
Yeah.
Band-Aid over a
Otherwise, it would
gaping
bleed
wound.
out. Yeah.
It's still going to bleed out. It's just going to take longer to do that.
Exactly. It's a
How
good,
much
good
does
analogy.
just being homeless give you any anxiety? It makes the anxiety worse. It makes the depression worse, and it just makes the individual worse. Just to be homeless.
Well,
I know the great poet Charles Bukowski was an alcoholic. He was on Skid Row for a part of his life. Said the most important thing is to have 4 walls around you.
Mm-hmm.
And how much does just not having those 4 walls? And I'll just add one thing. When I was a kid going to Boston University, I lived with Howard Zinn.
Ding,
I lived
ding,
at a
ding. There it is.
oh,
Howard Zinn count.
Here comes the name
I
drop.
love Howard Zinn. 'Cause Howard,
I'll drop that name.
Howard told the
Can we get a
his-
counter right up here?
his students to do what people like you were doing. You know, go out in there and help people. But I lived in a single room only in SRO. It's like a rooming house or something. That's where poor people lived. But those have all been wiped out by real estate development. There just aren't cheap rooms.
Oh,
you know?
here, especially Manchester now. It's like
Yeah.
they're taking Baltic Ave and they're turning it into Atlantic Ave.
No,
overnight.
Broadway. No, Broadway. Yeah.
Prospect Street has become Project Street.
It really has. It's crazy. You can't get it. Even if someone gave you the $1,600, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're still not getting in a place
No.
because everyone's so weary. Like the landlords are just super defensive, and I don't blame them because there's people who take advantage of things, but it just makes it so impossible.
Is there still the moratorium on evictions, or is that over?
No, that's all gone. Evictions are good to go now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can evict. It's not saying it's gonna happen, but you can start the process. The process, as Howard Zinn would say.
No, he wouldn't say that.
Ding.
He's from Brooklyn.
That's 2.
No.
No, it's just fine.
Now, one thing I want to know: is there a leader of the homeless community?
Oh, you don't want to talk about that on TV.
Is there one guy that they all kind of look under?
No, let's not talk
There,
about that.
there
there's,
is, though. That's all I wanted. I'm
there
not
are,
specific. I
there
just
is a
heard
very
rumors
small group of people
that runs
that run everything, and
Exactly.
I'm actually not at liberty to discuss
Yeah, and I
for
wouldn't
their
put
own
you there.
protection.
Like
I
in
wouldn't
any
put you
other
there.
group of people.
Say
If
no
you guys
more.
are watching this, I got your backs.
Say no more. Because,
We don't want to target anybody.
But isn't that necessary for one of those people to reach out and start doing
Like Peter
the good-
White?
like say for instance an example, say there's an underbelly crime syndicate out there in the world, in New York or something. One of those guys is a lawyer, and his job is to reach out to the politicians and stuff. There's got to be some communication between that and the good. Otherwise, it's just going to be, I'm sure. Do they give back?
Well,
is
Chief
my point.
Goonan comes by.
The people
doesn't
who
he?
are running, the small people are running, are they giving back? Or are they just selfish?
Are you kidding? They are doing more than giving back. They are actually going without to make sure those that can't have do have. I've seen one of our leaders actually break down and cry today just by some kind words from some of the people that support our movement, and I just.
Yeah, are there people in the community coming down? I know Liz Rupp said she was going to make some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and bring
And that
them
did
down.
happen today.
Oh yeah, that's Roppy.
Well, I
She's-
have an amp and a microphone in my car.
Oh Jesus!
I'm gonna try to find a plug and let people tell
Definitely
their
bring
stories.
it down, because I still sing.
And so when you say movement, where are we moving? What's the end game?
That's a good question.
At least to deal a somewhat lethal blow to homelessness and poverty, because I myself, I'm able-bodied and able to work. There's no reason why I should be homeless unless I'm
Yep.
not making the money for it.
You got a vice, don't you?
Me?
Yeah, you got a crutch. It's just something.
Video
obviously.
games and music mostly. But yeah, cigarettes, weed, beer.
You got a
from
hole
time
in
to
your
time.
boat.
I actually can go a long time without any of those three. My real crutch is actually music. I miss singing so much.
Yeah.
But this has actually become my new vice, is helping.
If I didn't have art, I would just die. I would.
Right?
And any artist will tell you that it's not something you can choose to do. It's like, if I'm not in a position to do art, if I'm like I just had a baby, and I can't
Congrats.
paint at the, thank you, I can't paint at home, I end up oozing art out of my ears. I end up in the shower, I'll draw on the wall with a bar of soap. I'm telling you, like, it
Yeah.
has to come out of you.
Yep.
There's nothing, and I'm sure Brent can, attribute to that. When you have the art bug, so when you're not singing, I'm sure you're just humming and you're writing in your head.
I'm doing a god honest effort to not right now, just for the sake of professionalism.
Yeah.
although this is the one you go to, he's the professional here.
I would say
You're a professional artist, so I understand that completely. Because when I'm without my music, that cacophony of the noise, the city, literally becomes an audio hallucination of a beat to me.
I'll tell you what, you have to own it. Someone said, "How do you know when you were an artist?" I was in New York City at a comedy show, and this guy's doing the rounds and he's busting everyone's, chops. He's like, "What do you do?" And that was my aha moment. I said, "I'm an artist." And that moment right there was when I declared I'm an artist. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of artists out there that aren't admitting it. So I've owned this lifestyle.
They don't know quite
I get
yet.
a lot of grief the way my laissez-faire, non-conformative, cars a mess, all that stuff. But, if you own it, people accept you for it.
Well,
and most
let's
smart people aren't organized, so don't worry too much about that, man.
let's
But if you want to be a musician,
refocus a bit.
No, but if you want to be a musician, say you're a musician, and people will let it slide.
We're talking about
You can sing
homelessness.
in public.
Listen,
I do so all the time.
You can come back next week and you can talk about your own stuff. But just say, in 1983, 4, I'm
for
down in New York
charity.
to become a writer. And in New York, we were basically living.
Guy shows up
on
once
the
a
very
month for his
edge.
own show, and then you're trying to take over.
That's right. We're talking about homeless. If you're going to be an artist, you expect to be broke. That's the problem with New York. There's not even a place to live
I
when
mean,
you're living
and
on
look
edge.
at art itself. I've always been a big fan of, because I'm a very space and time
I'm looking
based
at this.
person,
Your notes.
and art is how you take up blank space, and music is how you take up blank time. So I would consider myself a musician more than an artist, but I do tinker in time to time in your field just in order to get that creativeness out.
And I go to GarageBand and I make beats. Because
Exactly.
that's all art.
It's all art.
I noticed all the tents weren't taken down. Now you got word is out.
There we go.
They're coming, Yet every tent is erect, almost pristine. It's almost like someone went by and did a roll call and
Well,
checked
aren't
them
you,
and
like,
propped them up a little bit more.
Well, aren't
is there a
you-
message there?
I was
Isn't the
telling most of
perimeter
the higher
clean?
ups when I first came
that a
into
message,
the-
though?
I was telling most of the higher ups that when I first came to this city about 4 or 5 months ago, when I saw it for the first time, I had spent enough time in the woods to go, that tent's not going to survive the blizzard. That tent will. That one won't. This one will. That one won't. This person might make it. That person definitely will.
But you know they're coming.
Well,
today.
Tuesday, you guys were, I
It
could
could
see
just
the
be a
perimeter
scare
being
tactic. Even
brought in.
if they do come, it could be just to show up to make people panic.
I think the longer they wait, the more results
They
they'll
usually
have.
come at dawn.
Because all these people, all
They
the
attack at dawn.
Robidos,
They do.
all the coffee, all the pizza will be gone, and then they can just get them. Right now, they come today. They're gonna be met with it seems
Resistance.
It seems
Non-violent
it
resistance, but
seems
resistance
like
nonetheless.
The tents aren't down,
No.
so
You got people there that got nowhere to go.
and they're kind of like.
And they're just like, we
Crimped
don't
up.
care. We're going to just
All right.
throw you up in valleys.
Here's
if
a
you don't."
question.
Is that what's gonna happen when they come? You think?
I-
What's gonna
I
happen? How's this gonna
hope-
play out?
I hope not. I hope that they just lay off of. I hope they just lay off of us long enough in order for the
Not
high.
gonna happen.
Yeah, no.
They're sweeping it.
Because
It's
they're
gone.
not going to sit there and come up with a solution. Like, look at Switzerland. Switzerland has housed their homeless, and out of every 10 people, only one of them ends up back on the street. That means that's 90 out of 100 people that once they're off for good. They're back into a living situation. They get that routine. They get that lifestyle.
Yeah, but it's
and
not,
out here. It's all a matter of money to these people instead of your fellow man. I'm out there freezing my butt off when I could be on a rooftop next to a vent, safe and sound as an Irish pound. I'm afraid of people, but I'm still down there trying to help
Oh,
out.
don't do that.
Sorry.
That's terrible.
Sorry.
Sunday.
It's bad penmanship, I guess.
No, it just.
It shakes the mics. But yeah,
it does more than that.
I'm down there just in order to help at this point because anybody, it doesn't matter how rich or how greedy you are, anybody can go down there, take one look at some of the depression that's on these people's faces and say, this isn't just wrong, it's inhumane to the humanity of our country. It sets a bad example for us worldwide, not just statewide.
What do you think?
I guess got one question.
Okay.
I was there Tuesday. I couldn't make it Monday because Elizabeth Rupp didn't have my car broke down, so she couldn't pick me up. I was told Tuesday that on Monday nobody from the New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services that had contacted anybody, unlike a statement made by Governor Sununu or Governor Sununu's office. Was there anybody from the New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services Monday?
If they
There.
were
Helping
there, I didn't see them.
Right.
I had heard many rumors. I heard that Governor Sununu had been there on Tuesday, just yesterday. I didn't see him, and I was there all day.
It's not like a huge area either. You know it's the
I would
damn
have
governor.
yeah,
There'd be
like-
pictures of it.
Yeah.
There'd be
And that's
put-
why
you know
he'd
what I
be
mean?
there.
Exactly. with a big check that probably bounced.
You know, I mean, but all I have to go on is the hearsay of the people, because I myself have gotten so fed up with the lies of politics and politicians that I'm just done with it.
So we know where you're going.
Do what's right for the people.
You're going up top, which I didn't even know that was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the guy who's sitting there having that cold slice because someone ordered Little Caesars for them? Congratulations, guys!
Don't walk in front of the cameras.
You're really saving the world on that one. Good job on the pizza. Which I understand people want to help, but the way to help is what? What can Larry watching at home right now? He's got $40 he wants to give. Where's that 40 gonna do its best service to?
Hold on, Mikey's taking my play.
Yes, I
Don't
am.
walk in front of the cameras.
If I'm at home
Where-
watching this,
where would be
I
a
got
great place to
$40 I want to
donate?
give. What am I doing with that 40? Am I giving it to you privately, or am I giving it to an organization? Who do you trust? Who don't? What is that 40 gonna do its best work?
Oh, I've always had actually a problem with charities because they have that whole, don't give it to them, give it to us and we'll make sure they get it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that always sounds like some backdoor shifty ass crap.
Right.
Pardon the language, sorry.
He didn't swear. He said shifty.
Yeah, but I used the A word.
Sounded like
My
you were gonna,
apologies, public.
though. Right, Mike? Sounded like he was about to drop a bomb.
Yes.
But there has to be a charity or something out there that I don't know of. That we got. It's Manchester. Sorry, but there's plenty of empty buildings in this city that these people could go to, and nobody's doing nothing. There's 2 abandoned buildings right across the street from the encampment. Why haven't those been opened up for use by these people?
I'll tell you why.
That way they do have a place to go.
I'll tell you why. The same reason why bathrooms at Veterans Park didn't hit.
Mm-hmm.
Because someone will go in there, they'll take a crap on the walls, and they'll do heroin in it.
Mm-hmm.
And they ruin it.
For
Now,
everybody.
That's why you're not getting that building. That's why the armory's not opening.
Mm-hmm.
And
What do you do to self-police that?
The people that are substance abusing need to either learn to control their substance abuse or need to seek substance abuse help. And there's plenty of that in place, but a lot of them don't want that because once they're clean, they're still stuck in this reality
Right.
where everything sucks so much that their vice is the only escape from it that
I
they
gotta
have.
get out of tomorrow. I gotta get out of today and into tomorrow.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen some people around here that I don't see around here. You know what I'm saying? The same guy that I've kind of got conversations with, and all of a sudden I don't see him no more. Are they getting exiled out of here within? Are people so bad for the group that they get told to beat it?
Actually, a few do. This is a group effort, and anybody that's not there with us,
Seems logical.
we try to, but they got nowhere to go, so they'll just come right back.
Right.
And
And I
then
don't
these same
advocate
peop- and
any
these same
kind of
people-
violence at all, but it must lead to that at
These
some
same
point.
people deny everybody who's there of sleep. I mean,
Right.
this last week alone, I have literally only survived off of 20-minute naps.
Yeah.
Over the course of like I literally like, if it wasn't for the coffee, I wouldn't even be awake right now. I wouldn't be able to do this interview with you, man. To be honest
Well,
with
you're
you.
doing great. Let me just say that
Why, thank you.
I can tell you're a little on edge, and you're very charismatic, and you're a good mouthpiece for the. Because I'm sure, like, you're a little nervous to say the wrong thing. But don't worry, there's only 24 people watching.
Yeah, it is public broadcasting. And my mom's probably one of them. Hi, Mom.
And now that I'm on, they don't air it the same night. They got to do a whole review for it. They bring that.
They
to
gotta
the
make
table.
sure it's appropriate.
It's the Gonzo factor.
The Gonzo factor. I like that. You will one day be the new Gonzo the Great.
He already is, so.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike, do you have a question? Are you
It-
curious about anything?
It's just awesome to. Yes, homelessness is a huge problem in the city. It's a problem everywhere, and because of the virus, people don't want to go inside, which I completely understand. I'm behind you guys. It's just that it's a fear, and rent prices in the city are way too high. It's like you said, minimum wage isn't where it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Minimum wage should be $15 an hour, but the politicians up in Concord don't want to do it because it
Distracts from profit margins.
You know what I took? No, what my takeaway was down at the courthouse. I'm cold. I was there 20 minutes. I'm freezing. Carol Roberto goes, "Where's your jacket? Aren't you cold?" I'm like, "I'm freezing," but I get out. I get to go.
Yeah, most
Like,
of those people are stuck out there.
I'm freezing. I got my car right there. I'm just going to turn the heat on real quick. I literally did that. It took 10 minutes and warmed up real quick. There's no warming up real quick for some of these people.
They're sleeping on the vents just to stay warm. Some of those people don't have tents.
Like, this is warm. You must be like, this is sweet right now. Like,
Quite toasty. It's not as chipper as it is out there, of course.
and I feel like if I had that $40 instead of giving it to an organization, it depends how much fortitude you have as a person. I would kind of go down and maybe put that 40 to a personal use. Maybe I don't know. What do you need today, buddy? You need some cereal. You need that way. It all goes to them. I wouldn't buy any substances. I wouldn't buy cigarettes. I wouldn't buy anything. But I might buy him some beefaroni, and I might find out if his girlfriend needs tampons. It's these little things that you're gonna do that these organizations don't. You know, go grab some socks and some tampons.
Well, I have to say
Mikey, go get some tampons, Mikey. Come on.
I was going to say, that's actually one of the things that the Mutual Aid and Defense New Hampshire, as well as the other groups that have come down to help us out, have been making sure of, is those little things have been being taken care of. It's the big things that the politicians need to work on. There needs to be housing, or lots of people are going to die this winter. That's not an if. That is a guarantee.
How many people? I saw about 25, 30 tents out there. That's nothing. That's
compared to the
that's
entire
main
city?
stage. That's main stage spotlight on.
Yeah,
You're talking
but-
about subs. There's probably what 300 people, 400 people homeless in
According
Manchester?
to the radio earlier, it was like 365 people who are already on a database.
Can you
and that's the
imagine
thing.
that?
They're keeping a database of the homeless people. It's like if you honestly have if you are honestly having like a list of people that you already have identified, then why not go through their case files case by case by case? This person and this person might be having a kid one day. That's their game plan. Why not get that couple housing? Or get them off of the substances so they can actually, like, even if you get them off the substances, they're still going to be out there. They're still going to end up going back to those substances. It's
Right.
easy to pay attention to your demons because they're the only ones there
You need
for
a
you.
place to land.
Yeah, they're the only, your inner demons are the only ones that are there for you when no one else is.
So 300 people. Now, we all know Skinny on Elm Street. We all know the ones that are out in front. But there's people on the outskirts hiding.
Like the veterans, they're
Hiding-
not really hiding though because they can survive in Elmo. They know what they're doing. They can survive, but it's still wrong that our soldiers, these people sacrificed so much for our country, they're still outdoors.
Well, isn't it
Why is
interesting-
that?
Isn't it interesting how they have basic training to get you ready for it, but they don't have basic exit?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
they don't have a reassimilation program.
Well, you don't expect to wind up that way after serving your country.
No, especially after everything that you're promised before you enter it.
Yeah.
Well, you just don't expect that you.
You need a microphone if you want to be on the show.
I'll speak for him.
I have a very loud voice. You don't expect.
Howard Zen.
You don't expect the country to turn out like it did over the last, 20 years.
Bought and paid for is their attitude. Unfortunately, it's awful. Now, I'm an athlete. I would have been a great soldier, but I didn't want to be one. Thank God other people did. And I give them mad respect, but why
Insane.
is it a detriment to your overall life to do that? Why are you better off not going in? You know what I mean?
That is an answer that I can't give you.
But no,
Because I personally don't know. That's
Right.
If you wanted an answer to that question, we would have to bring one of them down here for that, sir.
and I don't need an answer. My question was that 300 homeless people out there, you see about the same 40 faces though. Where is everyone at? Where are the kids? Where are the kids hiding? Not hiding. Where does a 15-year-old homeless girl stay to stay safe and warm?
That's one of the main things that I worry about because you
So
see
that's your
very-
job to kind of the sneaky stuff is your job, like
like
keeping people
with-
safe.
with
Don't
the-
worry about it.
Like
Don't ask
one
questions.
of our youngest out there is 23, and he's a workaholic. That his vice is drinking and working. He is trying desperately to get off of these streets, but he's not making. He's always in the red. Even when he drinks a bottle of wine, that bottle takes him like 3-4 days. This little one of those like Mad Dogs or Wild Irish Road, like even those takes him 3 or 4 days to polish off. That's not out. That to me is social alcoholism. That's not even an addiction at that point because he can go days without drinking.
That's all in the head.
That's just him having a good
The
time.
second he doesn't have that half a bottle of Irish Rose is when he starts to panic. It's all anxiety.
I've seen him not panic.
But keeping that, milking a bottle for 3 days is just, he doesn't need it, but he needs it. If he didn't have it in his bag, it'd be a problem. You know what I mean? That's why.
If he didn't have it in his bag, like I said,
knowing he could go back to it if he needed it.
Like I'm saying, he's a workaholic. So if he honestly needed it, he would easily have the money to pay for that. But a place for him to live and get out of the warmth. And that's why I said, listen, buddy, if they show up today, I want you across the street. Because if things break down and these guys come with business, I don't want you getting caught in the crossfire. We don't need... Because he's only 23, but that's still a kid to me. That's still somebody's kid. And that's important.
Do you know every single homeless person in Manchester?
No. I've only been here for 5 months, and almost every single one I've met has left a major impact on me.
Do they mostly know who you are?
I would hope so. I'd try to be friendly. You might have actually heard of me before you met me.
Probably.
I mean, I go around the city saying indubitably all the time.
I thought that was my word.
Indubitably. Yes, indeed.
Brandon, there's some guy yelling without a microphone. I
found last night's opera to be quite shallow and pedantic.
God, you think it's your, first time on your own show. So, do you feel like you're famous in a way in your inner circle? Are you recognized?
Recognized, yes.
Does it help?
Thanks to some of you, I even feel appreciated.
How did you end up here?
How did I end up here?
Today. How did you end up in that seat right there? John?
I got kidnapped.
Did someone introduce you to John? Or did you just
run
into him?
No. I was.
Or is it indubitably going to happen?
It was indeed going to happen.
Did you approach him?
I was actually looking for Calvin myself, but Calvin was busy, and so he turned to me and asked if I wanted to come down and join you fellas, and I was like, I really want to stay, but I also want to get that word out.
You're doing better at this. You're doing more at this desk than you were there, because right now, what can you do? You're just sitting there
waiting. I'm waiting for the tear gas and flashbangs to happen.
I don't know if that's gonna happen. It depends on you guys. It depends on you. So what direction are you giving?
That actually depends on them. But that depends on the state. That depends on the state, not the city. Because the city, they wash their hands of it.
How far will you take it?
And that's why we had one rule from the get-go: no fighting. Every single person that has fought there has been reprimanded severely by the people that keep it organized.
That's what I mean. The self-policing is crucial.
Actually happening, yes.
Because as bad as a reputation you have, you don't want to make it worse.
No.
Because it can only go worse.
And
you don't have a great reputation, and it's like people don't understand what you're dealing with. The good you're doing by not fighting. Oh yeah, how hard is it to not fight? It's hard, bro. When someone insults you, they steal your butts, they hurt your pride, they grab your girl's leg, whatever. It's hard not to fight.
Last night is a prime example. There was this one dude who apparently wasn't able to get his fix, and me just being near him was too much for him to handle, and so he punched me repeatedly in the face. Good thing he hits like a Limp Bizkit. Because I didn't hit him back. And even this morning, people were coming up to me and they were like, we're proud that you didn't fight back. And I was like, if I fought back, then I would be disobeying one of the main rules. We are policing ourselves. The police, guys, you don't need to really police us. You need to police these streets and help us get up and off of them.
I bet you there's a lot of people watching this that had no clue that there was such a machine underneath the surface here.
This is actually quite organized. Like, even if you guys moved us out, unless you find a place for us to go, we will find another place, and chances are it will be fortifiable because you moved us. And even without those, even if you were to take every single one of those leaders, you would have to fill Valley Street with 360-something homeless people. The influx of people who are suicidal, the people who have drug abuse problems, the people who have severe anxiety or anger issues. You're going to lock all these people in cages like animals. I'm not just an agoraphobic, I'm a claustrophobic. And so Valley Street, that isn't an option for me.
Right.
Because you're literally going to trigger me to a point where I'll be banging my head off the walls.
Well, I'm feeling like you're a little triggered right now.
As you can see, the very thought of this
Right.
makes me angry.
Well, that's
the
it.
very thought of being inside of a small place, surrounded by people. That
Right.
alone, the thought alone can trigger a person. And so, a lot of these people are actually very antsy because thought of them being forced to move, them having to find somewhere else to go when they're around. Some of these people are actually tight-knit with each other. Some of these people, I would dare say, are friends.
Well, you have to be. You need road dogs, right?
I miss my road dogs. But then again, Hugs for Charity was years ago.
Let me ask you a question. I'm sitting there, I'm looking at this tent situation, and I'm like, who the hell thought of this? Who's the guy that said, I got an idea. There's a state house that they can't kick us out of. How did that come up? Was it
That was
it
before
just a
I was
suggestion?
That was before I was in Manchester. But by the time I was here,
Throw it
the
in the
ball
water
was
and
already rolling.
see if it floats?
Yeah,
It's
and
floating.
apparently it did.
Because I think what happened was, so you had the camps by the river, the ones up in north and near the Ambuscade Bridge and whatnot.
It's the eyesore on the community.
Yeah.
Going into the wrong part of town. You don't go north.
The real eyesore are all these empty buildings.
Stop them before they hit Webster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you started with that one.
You come to the wrong neighborhood, boy.
I live in the North End, and I
used to.
Like,
so
you're like, oh my God, they're getting closer.
Yes, we are. You can't stop us. No
But
matter
that
how
won't make
many there
North
are.
End magazine.
But that's the thing is, like, years ago I heard on the radio about this homeless charity event going on here in Manchester. I also heard when I finally got here that it was canceled years ago. The information that the city sent out years ago, people are still just hearing about it and still think it's on, think it's this year, think it's...
What event? What do they think is happening?
I heard it through hearsay.
Like a
But it happened in 2018, I believe. 2018 or yeah.
like a beer pong tournament? Like what are you talking about?
Like an actual
a race?
like a charity event for the homeless or something like that was supposed to take
Yeah, that's
place.
next week.
You see what I mean? Like, there are people in California who are hearing it just like that. No joke, but I appreciate the sentiment, but no joke. There are people who are just hearing about that right now. And these people are literally flocking here. So you can kick us off. You can kick us off the courthouse.
We have a call. Hello, this is John Hopwood.
Yeah, I think the question he was asking is why all those buildings, why they can't put people in there. I think it's probably because of the insurance. I think the city is afraid of, like, if you were to put the people into the building, if something happened, say like a fire or somebody got murdered in there or assaults, whatever, physical or whatever, I think the city would be responsible. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why they wouldn't do it. Also, if there was like damage going on inside the building, somebody gets hurt, the insurance companies, I believe, would not take care of that. It's just like, you drive a car. You can have, say, for instance, you can have insurance on your car. You have two different insurances. One insurance is you take your car out if you were to smash into somebody. You would be, your insurance company would help you out. But say, for instance, you put your car, you had it laid up for, say, 6 months. You went to Florida. And that car insurance that you have on is called comp. So the comp would only take, say, for instance, a tree fell down and hit your car. You're not allowed to bring your car out. You can bring your car out, but the insurance wouldn't cover it. because it's not insurance for the road. It's just for any damage that happens to your car, like a tree or whatever. Some kid comes over and sprays paint.
And it's gonna happen, and you know it.
I
You
do
know
agree.
if they put
These
100
companies don't
people
wanna
in a
be
building, it's like, you know, someone is gonna screw up.
And there's always going to be a bad apple, but if you look,
Always,
there's
always,
plenty of
100%
bad
of the time,
apples
though.
that are living in homes. There's plenty of bad apples in politics. There's plenty of bad apples in the police. I
Right.
know that's
But
a
that-
huge
but
topic.
that's why they're not letting you in the
discussing
building,
now.
though.
You know what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying. There's always some bad apple.
And
The
it's going to
point
wreck it for the
is,
rest of them, and the
it's
companies don't want to take that risk, sir.
No. Hold on. What I'm saying to you is, I understand what you're saying. There's always these bad apples, but what I'm saying to you is by the insurance company. The insurance company, if somebody gets killed in there or hurt, the city is responsible, because the insurance company will come back and say, no, that is not used to put people in. That is used for offices or whatever. And insurance companies are really, they can be nasty. They can say, no, we're not responsible for that because it's not made for that. So that's why the city, now say for instance somebody did get killed in that building, or the place burnt down. Now what happens is the city let them in that building. So the insurance company says to the senior, says to the city, oh no, guess what? Guess who's paying for it? You are.
Well, this is John Hopper. I'm back
I agree.
in the seat. Here's the thing. One of the buildings is owned by the city of Manchester, and it's self-insured. It has its own pool of risks, just like Hillsborough County,
But
has
the thing
risks.
is, why would they put 100 people in a building when you know it, something's gonna happen.
But talking about
That's not even an if, that's an eventuality.
Well, hold on. Talking about liability, one of the plans, the state suddenly started talking to Joyce Craig, saying, well, you could put a tent up at the Armory, but the city had already looked into that. It's going to cost $1 million for a climate-controlled tent. The other one was vouchers for hotels or motels. But Families in Transition, which I guess is the premier nonprofit
But then
that
again,
handles it.
party
Listen,
time,
listen.
right?
Hey, listen. You forget about partying. We're
No,
talking about issues about how to help the homeless. Families in Transition said they would be liable. Yeah, because we're not going to talk about. You want to focus on all this stuff.
I'm telling you, if you give vouchers to these
In New
people,
York City
they're
and other
gonna
states,
say-
they do it.
They're gonna say, "Great hotel, let's have a party."
Maybe.
See, this
Not
maybe.
all of them are like that, though.
Not all of them, but one will.
Why
You're
not
just
even a large
focusing. That's like
parking lot?
negativity.
No, it's negativity.
It
John,
could
but
happen, but they do it in other cities. In some ways, caller will give you the last word. That it's all, when you talk about liability, it's always traditionally an excuse to bail out of stuff. When we're talking about the building that was the former police station, that's the city of Manchester. That's and they are self-insured.
Okay,
Why not a parking lot
let me clear.
where we could set up tents in
Cost
the
too much
parking lot?
money.
All right, go ahead, caller. Sorry.
Let you have the last word on this because we only got a few more minutes.
Okay, let me ask you a question. The guy that was talking, the guy off to the left with the mask on there with the ball in black.
Revan, you mean?
You say that you're not? Yeah, I guess so. I don't really know his name, but anyway,
It's Revan.
Did you say that you came? You're not really. You don't live. You weren't born here, and you never lived here. You just came in. Where did you come in from?
I came in after being homeless in Milford for 3 years in the woods. I moved up here
okay.
to help my roommate get a place so he would stop living in his car so that way he'd have a place for his children while he got himself set back up. And, well, once he was pretty set up, I started...
Hey, Brendan, can you get any help because you don't really have a home? Can you get food stamps? Can you get some kind of emergency assistance?
That's a good question, and that's
Depends on.
a
Doesn't it depend on if
catch-22.
you have a
I actually don't
domicile?
even know where the Social Security
Right.
office is.
I'll
So,
take
yeah,
you there.
They don't know where to get their resources.
Yeah, a lot of people don't.
That's one of the things
Some
we.
people have lived there their entire lives, don't know where the SS office is.
That's one of the things the veterans were always talking about when the politicians come up. We don't have a blueprint.
Yeah,
to
but
access
the question, the question, maybe somebody on the panel might know. The question is, if somebody doesn't really have a
Domicile.
home itself, or
Right.
an apartment, or an address,
An edifice.
can they
you
still
get a
get
license?
food stamps like SNAP or anything like that?
Well, you know what,
I don't think so.
Revan, I hope you
No.
can come back next
Not
week.
without a mailing address, sir.
Yeah, Revan, come back next week and we'll figure out some of these
And
questions.
bring Calvin.
Yeah. It was lovely
And,
speaking
Oh,
to you,
and
sir.
Hobbs.
So
Yeah, we only got a
basically
couple-
you're
one
saying
more
to me
minute.
You have to have an address in order
Yeah.
to get SNAP.
It gets mailed to you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you get a card.
No, you get a card, but I'm just wondering, do you have to have?
We'll
a-
figure. I swear, we'll figure that out, and we'll have that information.
Yeah.
Tune in next week, Revan. I hope you were here.
Thank you. Good
And
call.
we'll-
Good call, though.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
That was a
Yeah.
good
Okay,
call.
thank you.
An
Thank
excellent
you.
call.
Have a great day.
You know, Gonzo, I know what you're talking about, and things are inevitably will
I'm not
happen.
trying to be negative. I'm saying that I get discouraged when I give away 4 pairs of sneakers and then that one person sells it for, and I see it, and it's like,
That's part of.
why aren't you doing the right thing? And it's discouraging. So
It
you
is
give hotel
discouraging.
vouchers out to someone, they're gonna be like, all right, let's do
It's
this.
a place where I can do my stuff after I
And
get
it-
my hands on it.
And
though.
it's so cynical to think that, but it's just gathered information, and
It's-
that's where the other side is coming from. That's their main
It's so
point.
common that it's practically a guarantee.
Right.
But not every single person's like. If I did, I would go out to my buddy's place, get my PS4, and I'd spend the entire night in the hotel room playing video games.
Let me ask you a question, real quick. Serious question. Here.
Okay.
Is someone gonna die this week from cold in Manchester?
Hypothermia.
That hypothermic death
The way they-
is
are they
quite
gonna-
possible, but I can't guarantee that. I'm not the Reaper.
Right.
As
People
much
will
as
die.
I like to
People
dress
will
like
die
them,
this winter, though.
just
No,
like
I'd
in New York, just like in every city.
fall off the
yes.
tree.
But let's just say people like Chief Goonan, people are saying he's there and he
Well,
walks
Goon's
through.
a good guy. Though.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
going to try to make
Like
sure
I
that
said.
that doesn't happen.
You try, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why.
And we have to help
You're
you
right.
guys and Chief Goonan.
and the negativity
support.
doesn't help. And if that leads to them not getting the building, I apologize.
You were right to bring
Put
it
them
up.
in the building, because it's better than falling off the tree.
You were right to bring it
I
up
do
because
agree.
that's something that you have to talk about. But
'Cause
the
once
other
they're
side
inside,
uses it against
Then you
help.
could,
Yeah.
because once they're inside, you know where to find them daily. So you could get the substance abusers the treatment
Right.
that they need
At least they're
to
not
get
freezing to death.
them on.
Okay,
So
Revan-
no wonder why they're doing it.
Sum up for 30 seconds.
Great job today.
Yeah.
I'm
30
proud
seconds.
of you.
Thank you,
Say-
guys.
No, I'm proud of you. You did a good job.
Tell the city of Manchester your parting words, about 30 seconds or a minute. Then we'll say goodbye.
I honestly believe that if we all actually stand together and help, then then we could deal a lethal blow to homelessness and poverty, and not just citywide, maybe even statewide. Maybe this can become a ripple effect. Maybe other states will follow the example. I mean, maybe we might deal a huge blow to homelessness and poverty throughout the country, maybe even the world. Like, I'm not trying to save the world, but you can save a person's world every day,
There you go.
and that's a world.
Thank you so much. Hope to get you back next week.
It was lovely to have you.
Hallelujah!
Indubitably.
Indubitably. Hashtag indubitably.
Yeah, hashtag
Adios.
indubitably.
Let's get these chairs.